to tonight's show, everyone. I'm Rick Russell alongside head coach Jonathan Calder. Tonight we're going to talk about tomorrow evening's opponent, the 3-3 Shenandoah Zeps. We'll have a few Seminole football players on board with us this evening as well. But coach, before we dive into all that, let's talk about our victory against Magnolia. You know, we came out hot, had one little special teams blunder, and we played well. You know, it's great to see. You know, a win like that, to play the way we did, builds a lot of confidence in this locker room for certain.
Yeah, it sure does. And we knew, or wanted to, going in that game, I wanted to kind of get off to a quick start because I didn't see that game going like that. I was a little nervous before the games. They have about 15, 17 seniors, something like that, and they're not little.
Right.
So I kind of thought to myself, you know, I was a little worried it'd be like a Liberty Union situation. They had a couple of decent skill guys and they could move the line okay, and they would just slowly kind of push us down the field, maybe hit some big runs. That's the kind of game I saw it kind of being. I'm glad it didn't turn out that way. Like you mentioned, the quick start, I mean, you know, you couldn't have scripted it better, honestly, besides the kickoff return. You know, we score, get a punt block, and then they did score the kickoff return, but it was quick, bang, bang, bang. I think we're up by 21 points there, you know, into the second quarter. So, but I honestly, I didn't see that game going that way. I was really nervous all week, and nervous even that evening before the game. I usually don't get real nervous before games. I usually have a sense of at least what I think is going to happen. It always doesn't work that way. But anyhow, you know, you mentioned the offense. We finally got some things clicking. We had over 400 yards of offense. So that was nice to see. Still some mistakes and things we got to fix up. We watched film earlier in the week, but finally got to see some glimpses of what we can do. You know, with that, if all 11 guys are working on the same page.
Yeah, I'd watched just a little bit of film on Magnolia, you know, prior to the game. You know, that Kristen boy, the quarterback, I think he started all 4 years.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember watching him like forever. You know, and that number 13, the running back, he's a big kid.
Real good kid.
I mean, I don't think they use him as much as what
They should
have, to be honest with you. You know, I think, you know, he ran the ball well when he had it.
That's right. Their line's big, and, you know, they got a decent team. That's why I honestly thought it was going to kind of be a 21-14, 20, you know, something like that. Maybe we pull away late in the game. I didn't see what happened. But like I said, we mentioned, you know, that's hopefully those are signs of things to come with their offense.
Yeah.
Once we get rolling, I think our defense has been playing pretty well. It's our offense that's been behind. Hopefully they've caught up and can keep that momentum going.
Yeah, major stepping stone for certain.
No, 100%.
You know, we'll jump into the Shenandoah game, but, you know, that's, you know, to win last Friday and then, you know, face, in my eyes, a similar opponent to us tomorrow night, you know, with a good chance to win that too, kind of spring us into week 8 and see what happens.
Yes, sir.
Let's take a short break, Coach. When we return, we'll be with our first guest of the evening, Jet Kaiser. Welcome back, everyone. We're here with the first guest of the evening, freshman Jet Kaiser. Jet, welcome to the show, bud.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Like I mentioned, you're only a freshman, man. You've been around this program for several years, so you know the routine, the tradition, the expectations. Tell us a little bit about finally being an official part of the program and what it means to you and what you've learned these first 6 games.
Yeah, it feels great, you know, being a manager for 4 years and looking up the guys ahead of me. It feels good to finally be out there and be playing the game. And you know, for the first 6 games, I learned that it's a completely different ball game from junior high, and it's the speed and physicality of it's completely different. But you know, I think we've adjusted well, and I think we're doing good so far.
Yeah. Well, there's no doubt you've prepared for it. You know, spent a lot of time in the weight room, and I know you watch highlight films from back in the '90s and early 2000s and so on. It really hurt when Owen went down with an injury, and we kind of needed someone to step up, and just so happened to be you. And you know, and Carter stepped. I know you and Carter are really close friends, and Carter was kind of thrown into the fire against Caldwell, and he'd never seen this, like you mentioned, the speed and physicality and the size of other teams, but you were that guy that we called to lift him up and help him through the game. In the past 2 weeks, you've led this team in tackles. Last week, you had 11 total tackles, and the week before that against Barnesville, you had 9, and that says a lot for a freshman. There's no doubt you came in prepared. What do you see out there? I mean, is it the scouting report, the game plan that Coach Shoemaker puts together? Is it film study?
It's the scouting report and the film. I mean, you can go out there and see a team, they line up in a certain formation. You pretty much know between a few plays which one they're going to run. So that helps a lot, knowing what plays coming, and that's a real game changer out there.
Yeah, without doubt. On top of those 11 tackles, you put together one heck of a stat line, offensively and special teams as well. You rushed the ball for six times for 49 yards and 1 touchdown. You had 1 reception for 53 yards and a touchdown, and you also punted the ball once for 52 yards. And that's, hey, Coach, that's great. We only punted 1 time.
That's right.
That's awesome. For sure. I can't help but look back at that first carry you had in week 1 against Liberty Union. You got popped at the line, and I kind of thought to myself, Chet Kaiser, welcome to high school football, bud. You know what I mean? But you bounce right back up, and you continually improve. And as a freshman coming in here and playing varsity football, like you mentioned before, there's a lot you have to adapt to. The speed of the game, the size of the linemen, the speed of the backs and receivers. Explain a little bit on how you adapted to all that.
I think it all starts in the off season with lifting. I mean, getting bigger, stronger, faster. That's a real game changer. It helps you prepare for you're playing some grown men out there in high school football. So
Absolutely.
being in the weight room really helps prepare for that. And you mentioned all the stats from the Magnolia game. I got to give credit to the guys up front. They're opening up holes. So without them, there's really nothing the backs can do. So I got to give credit to them.
Yeah, that's been a major improvement. We've talked about this on previous shows. We had to move Steiger from the backfield to the line. You got Brady Baker coming in, never played a snap of football, varsity football in his life, and doing wonderful things out there. And of course, Ashton being out there as a leader, but those guys deserve all the credit in the world for sure.
For sure.
And a lot of what you've accomplished has been your dedication, not just your dedication this year, but your dedication leading up to your entire high school career. There's been times I've been in the field house when you were 7th, 8th grade back there lifting with the high school. And I hope, Coach and I talked about this briefly. I hope that maybe you can pull some other kids in that weight room because we encourage everyone to play basketball, play baseball, be involved in something, stay out of trouble. But it's nice when you have an off season and you can spend in the weight room. You can get bigger, you can get stronger, and you can get faster, of course. So, how has that dedication in the weight room helped you navigate through this season thus far, and particularly against the bigger linemen and the bigger backs? And we've seen that a couple weeks ago in Barnesville. Those kids were
massive. They were massive. Yes.
Yeah. So how's the time you spent in the weight room? How's that helped you thus far?
It helps with every aspect of the game, really. But I think specifically it helps with tackling and running the ball hard. And like you said, especially with teams like Barnesville, they're pretty big. So being strong and fast, that's a real game changer for the teams like Barnesville.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, your family has a rich tradition in this program. Your grandfather, John, is a member of the Woodsville High School, Monroe Central High School Hall of Fame. Your Uncle Chad also played football here. And of course, your dad, Coach and I played with your dad in the 90s. So I'm sure they've been very influential in your short football career thus far. How have they helped you through all this season?
Yeah, they've been super supportive. It's really cool to look back and see how good some of those guys in your family were. But it's a motivator. You come to practice every day, you think of those guys and thinking you're trying to get as good as they were. So it's a motivator, for sure.
Let's talk a little bit about your first high school touchdown against Ricker. That's been a couple weeks ago. But,
First pass ever.
you always remember your first touchdown. happened to be a pass. Tell us about that play.
I think we were tied. We were tied at that point. We were driving down the field, and coach called in 38 halfback pass. And at the time, I really wasn't even nervous. I was just so focused on the game. I just kind of mentally prepared myself for it and just said, "Let's do it." And got the ball. I saw Max wide open, and it worked out.
Who was the nervous one?
My dad.
Yeah, I seen that on the side.
He wasn't too sure about that.
Yeah, when he found out the play, he kind of turned his back and headed towards the fence.
Yeah.
You know, sounded a bit nervous. But listen, bud, we got a big game tomorrow night against Shenandoah. It's homecoming here, a lot of festivities, a lot of extracurricular activities, but you know, we have to stay focused on the game. And Shenandoah has won 3 straight football games. Started out 0-3, currently 3-3. And they've scored some points. And you and I talked before the show about, you know, their shifty quarterback and the speed that they have. You know, they may not be the biggest team, but, you know, something's going on there in Shenandoah to win 3 straight. So defensively, what do you think we need to do to slow their offense down tomorrow night?
I mean, yeah, we gotta stop our quarterback. We gotta stop their running back, and they're a team that can run and throw the ball. So, you know, our guys up front, our linebackers, we gotta be coming up hard, stopping the run. Our defensive backfield, our corners and our safeties, they gotta play good defense and stop the pass. But I think if we do all those things and we play as a team, that we should come out Friday with a win.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, you know, last week's win really helped build confidence for this football team too. And I don't think anyone really expected us to jump out the way we did. You know, we had a miscue there on special teams and kind of let them back in early, but you know, fantastic performance, Jay.
Thank you.
Coach, you got anything to add?
Yeah, I've known Jet, you know, his whole life, known his family, of course, good friends with his dad and mom. Went to school with both of them, but, you know, when the first year they started flag, I was fortunate enough to be his coach, you know, back, what were you, 4th grade, 5th grade?
3rd grade.
3rd grade, geez, okay. I thought it was 4th. 3rd grade, and I could tell kind of, you know, he was going to be a tough kid back then, athletic even back then. And then as the years went on, I can remember, I don't know what grade he was, but he came to me and we were talking about the history of, you know, Redskin football and Central football, because he knows every stat about it, literally everything, every number that anyone's worn, you can just ask him, he knows. But he told me that once I made that record book, he was looking through and said, I want to be the best player that's ever went through in Central history. I said, well, that's a pretty lofty goal. You know, you look at some of those guys, you know, in that book. But I said, that's awesome, you know, but you have to work for it. And he's definitely a kid that'll work for it. Like you mentioned, the weight room, he's in there every single day they lift, and even extra days, you know, he comes over and lifts on his own sometimes. So just this kicking, he kicks every Sunday. He used to kick, 52 extra points every day or something like that, just to get good at kicking extra points. And we'll probably see a lot of that next year, his kicking. But yeah, that's just the type of kid he is. He puts the work in, and he's always going to be like that. We mentioned one last week in Carter Fry, same type of 2 kids, always putting work in, always wanting to get better, and honestly, will do anything he, you know, needs to do to get better. But he's also a leader. You mentioned some of these younger kids, the freshmen, they kind of look up to him already, and you know, he brings a lot of those guys into the weight room. I think they kind of follow his lead, and he pushes them, and they push him also. So it's a great freshman group, but it's fun coaching him. Like I said, I've known him, and I'm sure there's people out there that think, because I know his family and things like that I take it easy on him or something like that. That's probably just the opposite. I'm probably harder on him than some other kids, because I know his family, and I know he wants to be pushed hard and told, you know, things he's doing wrong and can correct. So now I look forward, and I hope there's one day that he can, you know, put his name up there in the top of that list of best players. That would be awesome to see. I think he can do it. I think he's got the abilities, just in the drive. So just a matter of him pushing himself, keep pushing hard and working.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he's spent a ton of time out there on the field on Friday nights.
Yeah.
You know, and not every freshman gets that opportunity, and you know, he's made most of it.
Yes. Yes.
Well, Jed, I appreciate you taking time out of your evening and joining us on the show. And best of luck tomorrow night, bud.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. We'll take a short break, and when we return, we'll be back with our second guest of the evening, Cooper Howard. Welcome back to the show, everyone. We're here with our second guest of the evening, number 7, Cooper Howe. Cooper, congrats on a big win last week against Magnolia.
Thank you.
You compiled quite the stat line as well. Let's talk a little bit about your individual performance. I mean, as a team, we had 402 yards of total offense. You were responsible for 293 yards of those 402, which is pretty amazing. You were 7 of 10 passing for 186 yards and 3 touchdowns. That's a 27-yard average. And then on the ground, you carried the ball 5 times for 107 yards and a touchdown as well. That's 21-yard average, of course. So 4 total TDs on the night. That's pretty impressive. Outside of the night win.
That's pretty good. I think the biggest part of my success was getting the ball to the playmakers, getting it there fast and making quick reads. We preach that all the time during practice, and running our line is a big part of that.
Yeah, our line's come a long way. We talked about that. We had Jed on just a few minutes ago. Had to move some players around, and we had inexperienced players playing, and I can see the improvements week in and week out.
Yeah, for sure.
So you came into your junior year this year with a lot of football experience, but just none of that quarterback experience. Backed up your brother for a couple of years. In week 1, you only attempted 9 passes against Liberty Union, and since then, Coach Nixon's kind of opened up the playbook a little bit. You had 34 passes against Bel Air, and 25 against River, and 26 against Barnesville. These coaches have a lot of trust in you and your ability for certain. When Max or Corbin, they're covered, double covered sometimes, you use your feet, to get out of the pocket, scramble and get some yardage, which is real beneficial. Give us your thoughts on the game plan so far this season.
I like to trend out the defense really helps, especially with the run. There's not as many in the box, and I like our skill about against anyone else's.
Yeah, absolutely. We have some very skilled players, and Corbin oftentimes double covered, and I think that's why Max has been so successful here. And Max is like a streak of lightning. He misses the first tackle, and he's gone down the sidelines. We've seen it a few times this year. Probably one of the most exciting plays last Friday was when you scrambled out of the pocket and headed towards Magnolia's sideline. I personally thought you were going to run out of bounds. I know this wasn't drawn up or the play that was called, but you got close to that sideline and kind of pitched the ball, a little shuffle pass, kind of like what you see on Sundays. That's what I told Tucker on the sideline. I said, that's stuff you see on Sundays, Tucker. Like the Patrick Mahomes deal. So, and I'm sure, Coach, you will show that clip here in the highlights as well. But take us through that particular play.
The guy just dropped back, and everybody was rushing, so came out of the pocket, and kind of Butter was just there, so I had to swing it to him.
Mm-hmm. Now, speaking of your brother, he's new to, of course, he graduated last year. Great athlete, great football player. What's it like to have him on the sidelines this year as a coach? I know for years you guys probably been beating each other up in the backyard, and now he's coaching you.
It's nice. He's a good quarterback. He was last year, and he let me see a lot of things and read everything.
Yeah. So enough of the offense. So week in and week out, you're very, very consistent. You always 5 to 6 tackles. I keep the defensive stats. I don't recall you ever having a CBL until this week. You may have
one
here or there.
Yeah.
That's great from a quarterback perspective. You also had an interception, and in my eyes, Coach, I don't know if you gave the stickers out yet, but I think Coop deserves the hit of the week.
For what?
Huh?
For which one?
One on the sideline.
Oh, yeah, that was
Well, he's got my vote.
Okay.
You have to give him
No,
a mouth.
that was a good play. Good play. Yeah, we'll be on the highlights.
Very good. But defensively, particularly up front, we've improved. And I talked about moving Stiver and Baker new to the game, and then we've had some injuries at linebacker as well. So Carter's got some time in there, and Jace, and AJ missed a little bit of time, but Jet has actually stepped up. So those front 7 have really improved. If you look at week 1, our leading tackler in week 1 was our safety, and Braden had 14 tackles. Now Braden's lucky to break 6 or 7 tackles. So our defensive line has definitely strengthened. Can you touch much on the improvement that you've seen in the secondary as far as those front seven?
Yeah, they're definitely getting better every week. I think our linebackers really stepped up, especially losing Howard. I think our Friday did really good last week getting tackles.
Yeah, they've really stepped up, and it's when you lose someone like Owen who had really caught fire,
Yeah.
before his injury. The kid was all over the field. One of the best games defensively I've seen in quite some time against River. You lose a player like that, and we're not real deep. So when you have to go to freshmen and count on them to step up, it's asking a lot. But kudos to you guys too, because that shows a ton of leadership. You older guys those kids look up to you. And you give them a little direction, they feel a little confident, and they play much better. So kudos to you guys for all that. All right, Coop, on to this week's opponent, the Shenandoah Zeps. Like I mentioned when Jet was on the show, homecoming. So there's a lot of activities. We've got to block all that out. Shenandoah comes in here at 3-3. They won their last 3 games. They're a hot team clicking on all cylinders. Offensively, what do we need to do to get the win?
I think we need to run the ball. I think we can. I think our line can dominate theirs. Just spread out the field. I think our skills are better than theirs, so give our skills some shots.
Coach, you got anything to add?
Yeah, I've obviously known what kind of football player he is for the last couple of years. He pretty much started as a freshman, got a lot of playing time as a freshman on both sides of the ball. So I knew what kind of football player he was coming in this year, which is one heck of a football player. Tough kid, got some, moxie to him, but wasn't sure what kind of quarterback he's going to be because really hasn't been a quarterback since 7th grade. I think you break your arm your 3rd or 4th game or something, your 8th grade year, so didn't get a lot of playing time his 8th grade year, and obviously, the last 2 years Tucker's been quarterback, so I wasn't sure what kind of quarterback he was going to be. But I've been happy with the progress, 7-on-7s, you just seem slowly getting better. And I'm talking even handoffs and everything, just everything that, you don't realize that you need to know. In the playbook, at running back and receiver, those kind of things, but he just didn't know the whole playbook. So you've seen him get better and better week in, week out. Getting more accurate with his balls, especially downfield balls. The whole season, the short stuff's been really working well for him. But anyhow, it's good that you can see that progression. You wouldn't want to see him taking steps back. So you see him getting better game in and game out. But yeah, he's a heck of a football player overall. This thing you talked about, moving with his feet and taking off, he's dangerous. Once he takes off with the ball, we try to get him to slow down on that. Once he leaves the pocket, hey, look downfield. Take off eventually, but look downfield. But once he takes off, man, he's dangerous with the ball. He can not only run around people, he'll run some kids over and he'll lower the shoulder and try to run kids over. Sometimes it doesn't work, but most of the time it does for him. But he plays pretty good defense too. He'll come up, you talk about that hit at Magnolia. That's from a cornerback position, so he's backpedaling and coming up. And, he'll definitely lay the wood on hits and things like that. He got pretty good ball skills. He got mixed up a little bit there at Magnolia, but we'll maybe let that one slide. But
I didn't want to mention that play.
Yeah. Maybe he didn't want me to mention that either. But those things happen. We talk about that all the time. No one's perfect in this world. No one's perfect on this team. No one's perfect on the coaching staff. You're going to make mistakes, and anytime I've seen him make a mistake, which is not a lot of them, he gets right back going. But it's good to see him become a quarterback, and we'll see where this goes, this year and into the next year.
Yeah, they Coop's a junior,
Yeah.
You're going to make mistakes, but the important thing is you learn from those mistakes you made. And I don't think you'll let that happen again this year. We'll have you back on the show and we'll talk a little more about it.
Yeah, if you let a guy catch you in front of you in 0 seconds, we will have a booster show.
Yeah. And he's an athlete too, Coach.
He is.
Comes from an athletic family. Like I said, his brother was a generational talent, and Coop's got that talent as well. He played 29 basketball games last year. It takes a special kid.
And they're 2 different kids too. Like him his attitude and the outgoing personality he has is completely different than Tucker. So it's nice to see that I mean, Tucker was just reserved and kind of shy, and he's complete opposite, which is awesome. You know what I mean? He kind of leads by talking and getting pushing people, where Tucker just led by example. So, yeah, two different kids, but both very tough football players.
Coop comes with a little swag.
He does.
Well, listen, Coop, man, appreciate having you on the show. Take time out of your evening, and wish you nothing but the best of luck tomorrow night, homecoming, and remainder of the season. But appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Yes, sir. When we return, we'll be back to talk a few of the highlights of the Magnolia Blue Eagle football game. Welcome back to the show, everyone. Coach, it's hard to believe it's week 7 already.
It is.
It's crazy.
Yeah, it goes quick.
Yeah. Tomorrow night, Shenandoah Zeps, they've got something going down there. I mean, they started out 0-3, won 3 consecutive football games, so something's got to be going right. And I'm sure you've watched film, studied it, and put together a great game plan for tomorrow night.
Yeah, you mentioned, their first 3 opponents, it's a little bit similar to us. They, a tougher schedule there in the beginning. And then they played some good teams the past 3 weeks, don't get me wrong. But a little bit similar to us, they didn't really have an identity. They got a lot of younger guys, a lot of inexperienced guys playing for them as well. Seems like they've kind of got in a rhythm. I think they've averaged 30 points in the last 3 games on offense. So it's definitely a team to be reckoned with. Younger, like I said, their quarterback's a sophomore. They've got, they've got a lot of freshmen playing, some sophomore, a few seniors. On the smaller side, it seems like they're kind of on all positions, but really quick, shifty kids. We definitely got to be ready for their quarterback. There's a nice ball, moves well in the pocket, and the running back that's back there with them. Both those kids can do something with the ball. They can take it to the house. They got a nice sized tight end, probably one of their bigger kids, but he's only about 6 foot, maybe 180, 190. But he's one of the bigger kids. Does well blocking as well as running routes. They spread it out just like they have been in the past couple of years. Same coach they've had for about 2 years now. Spread it out a little bit, run some different things. Then on defense, they mainly get in a 4-4. Flow pretty well, come up to the ball, make some nice plays. All the linebackers are fast. Like I said, they're not real big, but they're fast and they fly to the ball. But you can tell they're well coached. They were well coached last year and the year before, and you can tell that guy's got it going on. They do a good job. But I think we match up well against them. I think, I think we'll be able to run the ball well. That's the hope. We kind of got things going, last week, and that's where I want to keep going, is having that rushing game, some play action off of that, screen game, things like that. So hopefully we can keep that momentum going offensively, and honestly, defensively, just keep doing what we've been doing. I mean, I know some teams scored points against us, but I think defensively we played pretty well this season.
Yeah. It'd be nice not to have to face Braxton Barnett this year too. He was
well, that's true. It's unfortunate. Yeah, it's unfortunate. You mentioned him, and he could be playing. He's a senior. I don't know the kid, but I've always heard he got a D1 scholarship to, I think, the Miami University.
Yeah, the one in Florida,
yeah.
Not the one in Oxford.
Right. Yeah. So he's getting a D1. That's a track scholarship, and they kind of told him, hey, he had a couple concussions. If you want to keep your scholarship, maybe don't play football. I'm not sure if that exactly what happened, but I think the concussion thing was a little scary to them, and probably family as well, in himself. So it is unfortunate because he's something special. You had to, your whole entire defensive game plan was about him. But honestly, that sophomore quarterback, he's pretty shifty in his own right. Like, he reminds me, not quite as fast, but the same kind of skill set and the same kind of mindset. Scramble to get first down, scramble to throw. So we've got to be aware of where that sophomore quarterback is all the time too.
Yeah. You and I looked at the roster here before we started the show, and typically Shenandoah's got their huge front lines, and this year doesn't seem to be the case.
Yeah, you're right about it. They've always been big kids. I mean, even way back in the when we played them in the 2000s, they seemed to always have big kids in the line. But Yeah, this year doesn't seem to be the case. It looks like they're even starting maybe a couple freshmen on the line, some things like that, some younger kids. I think they're kind of the same, a little bit of the same boat we have. They probably got a couple injuries. I think they only have 33 guys on the roster. So, once you get an injury or two, you're going down the depth chart, and you don't have a lot of players just to say, hey, let's get another senior or junior that's 6'3". So, but they're scoring 30 points a game last 3 weeks, so he's got to do he's got them doing something right.
Yeah, they got things rolling there for sure, Coach.
Yeah.
Let's take a short break. When we return, we'll talk tomorrow night's homecoming, Coach. We have a lot of stuff going on. It's not homecoming. So
You don't imagine now.
I looked down this list. It's like twice as long as it usually is. So anyway, let's take a short break. When we return, we'll talk about some of the homecoming activities and festivities tomorrow evening. Ashton Lumbatis with a tackle for a loss.
Ashton does a great job of pursuing down the line to get the stop.
Cooper Howe to Corbin Farnsworth for the first Seminole touchdown of the night.
Nice pass by Cooper, and Corbin goes in untouched.
A host of Seminoles led by Drew Longfellow gets a tackle for a loss.
Great push by the D-line, allowing for the tackle in the backfield.
Ashton Lumbatis with the pressure, forcing the quarterback to throw it away.
Ashton with great hustle to make the quarterback get the intentional grounding call.
Corbin Farnsworth with the block punt, Carter Fry with the touchdown.
Great effort by Corbin, allowing for the scoop and score from Carter.
Corbin Farnsworth with a long kickoff return.
Corbin weaves his way in and out of good blocks for the long return.
Cooper Howe with a pickup of 20 yards.
Here, Cooper feels the pressure and does a good job of running for the first down.
Max Demchek with a Seminole touchdown.
Max does a great job of following his blocks, cutting upfield, and getting in for the score.
Wyatt Cohen with a great kick.
Wyatt nails a deep kick and gets great hustle from Jason Stemper, allowing for the stop inside the 20-yard line.
Great pursuit by the Noles.
Great pursuit from the line and linebackers, allowing Cooper to come up with a great stop on the outside.
Cooper Howe with a 68-yard touchdown run.
Great blocks from Baker, Corbin, Stein, and a downfield block from Max, allowing for the long touchdown run.
A host of Seminoles with a stop for no gain.
It is great to see so many gold helmets flying to the ball.
Lucas Steiger and Drew Lagerfeld combined for the tackle for a loss.
Great effort from both players.
Cooper Howe to Jet Kaiser for a 53-yard touchdown.
We get some nice downfield blocks from Stein, Ashton, and Ing, and Jet takes it in.
Corbin Farnsworth with a pass deflection.
Great awareness by Corbin, and we almost get the interception.
Cooper Howe to A.J. Rudder for the long reception.
Great outside blocks from Jet, Max, and Corbin, allowing for the big play from A.J.
Cooper to A.J. once again.
Here Cooper extends the play, and A.J. has a nice, tough run after the catch.
Cooper to Max for the Noles touchdown.
Max makes a couple of defenders miss and walks into the end zone.
A.J. Rudder with some hard running.
A.J. does a good job of following his blockers and getting some tough yards.
Jet Kaiser punches it in from 6 yards out.
We get some great push up front, allowing for the touchdown on the ground.
Braden Baker with a tackle for a loss.
Great penetration from Baker and a great stop in the backfield.
Cooper Howell with the interception.
Cooper makes a nice play on the ball, stopping their drive.
When we return, we will preview this week's opponent, the Shenandoah Zeps. Welcome back to the show, everyone. Tomorrow night here at the Fields Homecoming, it's that time of year again. Everyone come out and support the King and Queen candidates. Just a few reminders, tickets will be sold at the gate for $6. Also, 50-50 tickets will be sold at each gate. And a heads up, we're going to take half of the 50-50 proceeds, and the sideliners are going to match that half. And that money will be donated to the burn victims in the orphan well explosion here recently within the last month. So if you guys have a chance to buy 50-50 tickets, please do so, so that we can get this money to these burn victims and help them through their time of need. We truly appreciate that. Also, the sideliners will be selling sausage sandwiches just across the street from the field house. Programs will be for sale as well. Game ball raffle tickets will be available from the football moms. I was a proud winner last week. I've been trying forever to win a game ball. I finally made it happen. Football moms will also be selling some apparel at the home gate and the field goal contest tickets.
We had one person.
We had one entry.
Silver.
Come on, folks. One entry, Caden Silva. Thanks so much, Caden, for having a little fun with us.
He was about 10 yards short. He looked good for a minute.
A little short. Let's go 8 or 9. This single digit short.
Yeah.
But hey, you did it.
Yeah.
Blue jeans and cowboys.
Yeah, some kind of boots, yeah.
Yeah. So it takes a lot for someone to get out there and attempt a field goal.
Yep.
But hats off to Caden for his stride. Maybe his name will get drawn again this week, and he can redeem himself. The game ball sponsor this week is Country Clippings. So thank you, Sherry and Jordan Jones, for your donation. As far as junior high and youth football, both of those organizations have a bye this week, and youth football will start their playoffs next weekend. So please go support those kids if you get the time to as well. Coach, it's going to be a pretty busy evening, but we put all that aside, let those people take care of that stuff. We got business to take care of at kickoff. Got any final comments?
Yeah, you just kind of mentioned, there's a lot going on there, with the parades and there, things like that, homecoming, dance, things like that. A lot of things that can take, some maybe things off your mind, or, you take your mind away from football. But we've got to be focused up on football, because, that's the most important thing, is winning that football game. We always I talk about the kids, homecoming is much more fun weekend if you win the football game. Trust me, you don't want me going to dance on Saturday after a loss. We never did that. I'm sure it would be terrible. I don't even know. But anyhow, so that's the main focus, just keeping these kids going, keep them focused on the game. And I think things will take care of itself. But it's always a great atmosphere here anyhow. But homecoming is just a little extra special. A lot of people come back for the game. A lot of family and friends come in town. Because that's what it is. That's what homecoming is for. That's what they made it for people to come back and the excise and things like that. So I'm looking forward to it. Looking forward to a great crowd. Look for a fun night. And hopefully we can get a win and keep this thing rolling. And that'll be 2 in a row, and then just each week taking that step forward.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a wrap on this week's episode, folks. Appreciate everybody watching. Coach and I track the views, so keep watching the show. Spread the word. People need to know what's going on. Watching these kids, seeing these kids, each week, we laugh and joke around and have a good time. And
that's the reason we honestly do it.
Yeah.
I mean, to get some information about the team, of course. I think some people like that, but I do it just for these kids to have something to look at now and then in 20 years, maybe have a little chuckle about it. But, yeah, that's the only reason I really started doing this again is for them. You know, so yeah, if you're out there, definitely watch it and
Absolutely.
you know, maybe even when you see a player say, hey, I saw your interview or something like that, because they're some of them a little shy about it, but they'll love seeing it down the road.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, things have been going pretty smooth
Yeah.
until tonight.
Yeah.
You've got some work to
We've
do.
got some editing.
We have to edit both football players, and you also have to edit me.
Yeah.
So you have your work cut out for you.
Yeah.
But once again, everybody, we appreciate you watching. Do your best to join us again next Thursday night. We'll be here again at 9 p.m. We'll preview the Toronto Red Knights.